I just got laid off from Meta, aka Facebook. That was me 18 months ago. Shortly after posting that video, I got this lovely letter from corporate at Meta. Needless to say, I was a little spooked. So I took it down immediately, and just a couple days later, got this in my inbox. All that was missing was a link to our beloved Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up. Even though for many people layoffs were jarring, for me, I can't be happier that it happened, because just 18 months to today, the stage has been set for an exciting future, to say the least. Where did it start? It all started back in early 2021 with OpenAI's recent crowning achievement. And that was, in my view, one of the biggest milestones in the relationship between human and artificial intelligences. And that was OpenAI's ability to beat the best players in the world in the largest prize pool based esport, Dota 2. It had been a long time coming, and I saw it as the natural progression, starting back in the 80s with Garry Kasparov playing IBM's by Deep Blue. Then the next step I saw in that book was AlphaGo's defeat of the prodigious and the world champion Lee Sedol in the game of Go. I'll link below the wonderful documentary I've seen numerous times that overlays and follows the team of engineers and the leader of DeepMind over at Google in their feat to defeat the strongest Go player in the world. It's quite a watch. It's very wonderful. Fast forward 3 years, and now OpenAI is taking on the best Dota 2 team in the world. First in a 1-on-1 and then in a 5-on-5. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with Dota, in comparison to games like Go or chess with a finite amount of moves, however numerous, Dota essentially has an infinite amount of moves because it's not a turn-based game. It is a real-time game with multiple players playing consecutively against multiple players, 5-on-5 on each side. And at any moment, any player could decide to turn their character any degree of 360 degrees, use any skills, move in any direction, and change. And so essentially there's an infinite combination of moves. But OpenAI had cracked that code, and it built a bot that not only performed well but beat the best team in the world. And I was so fascinated at what was going on here. I didn't understand what was going on in the game. I saw, okay, the enemy players were dying. Okay, the human players were dying more. The humans' buildings were getting destroyed faster, and obviously their base got destroyed before the bots did. But aside from that, I didn't understand why. Like, why were the humans losing? Like, why were they losing all these battles? And so at the time, I was working with a business partner of mine who also happened to be a top 1% Dota player in the world, which was pretty crazy and a wild coincidence. And I asked him, I said, hey, can you explain to me like what's going on? We watched the video. I'll also link that in the description below of the gameplay that was happening between these players. And I was asking him like, what's going on? And he went through, the spacing, when they engage is perfect, when they disengage was perfect, and ultimately was more than the human teams could handle. So that essentially just ignited my curiosity into the game, and at my disposal was a world-renowned player, someone who not only understood the game but knew how to play it at a very elite level. And so fast forward, we kept in touch over the years. After that business closed, we kept in touch. We played Dota every now and then, and this takes us to 6 months ago in November of last year, where we had opened up Dota for the first time in a few months. We hadn't kept in touch all too much aside from playing this game. And I showed him ChatGPT. Lo and behold, OpenAI comes back to foster this relationship between us and create an amazing opportunity I'll get into shortly. When I showed him ChatGPT, he instantly thought about the application it could help him within his franchise business and all the other franchisees within the larger franchise that would benefit from a bot like this helping out their customer service operations. Actually, I think it's beneficial to take a step back and think about what is AI? Like what does it actually mean without getting into the nitty-gritty of reinforcement learning and all of the discrete math and matrices and numbers that are involved with generating these products and generating these tools. The way I like to describe it is essentially an expert pattern matcher. And if you look back throughout humans' evolution, all the way back to our ability before Homo sapiens, I think Australopithecus, when we were able to pattern match our environment to say, hey, this is a good environment, this is not a bad environment, let's evade these as well as animals. And then moving forward, okay, these tools can help us. Oh, I recognize that as a tool that can be fashioned into a weapon. And then now fast forward all the way to today, 2024, where we're inundated with so much stimulus. We can pattern match, okay, this is relevant, this is irrelevant, regardless of the amount of different types of stimulus. We can all sort of allocate those into various buckets of, okay, this is going to help me, this isn't going to help me, outside stimulus, whatever it is. And that's where AI really excels, at these very finite, discrete tools, these discrete applications. For example, radiology, where AI is now far surpassed, well, not far, but considerably surpassed humans' ability to detect early on stage cancer. And then we have tools like LLMs, which are doing very well and getting even better at predicting the next series of text. And as text is our primary medium of communication when we're not face to face, it obviously has a huge potential to radically change the landscape. And you see that potential being recognized with stocks of companies like NVIDIA. One of the primary bottlenecks or one of the primary funnel points of ramping up this AI technology, just completely growing, like with and reaching $2 trillion market cap in the matter of like less than a year or two, like 2-3xing their market cap. So that's a good way to essentially, from a broad stroke, for those who are unfamiliar with AI, to think about it. It's a fantastic tool that, when given the correct data, can create and not only pattern match magnificently, but also create new content from that data set that's very on par and very useful. So as I showed my former business partner ChatGPT, I think the light just lit up in his mind of how useful this would be for small business owners to be able to lift a lot of the heavy lifting of finding staff, training staff, supervising staff to carry out all of these very repetitive tasks, like handling inbound leads, like scheduling makeups and scheduling transfer classes. And so essentially we just took off from there, and that's it. And 6 months later, we're about a month out from launch, and we have about a list of a dozen or so fellow franchisees connected to and who's friends and business associates of my business partner. And it looks pretty promising, and there's a lot of other interest as well that we have garnered since then. So I thought it would be cool to start this vlog to not only demonstrate and not only sort of vlog and diary and show a breadcrumb of where I came from, but also perhaps inspire a few of you out there who are considering taking a leap and doing something. Maybe it's not starting a business, maybe it's something new, and maybe it's something out of the ordinary, what you're comfortable to, and perhaps provide some inspiration to show that, hey, when you get after it and you really put your heart into it, even if it doesn't work out, it's going to be one hell of a ride. So I hope I provided some value for you guys. I hope this was somewhat interesting. If there's any comments or questions, leave a comment below and I'll get right back to you. Awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.